Hello, Kimi. It's great to meet you online and to have this interview with you today. I'm looking forward to learning about how you have used and integrated the Stress Mastery program into your corporate culture. Thank you again for taking the time to sharing the details with us, and let's get started. The first question I have is what was the impetus for designing and conducting a Stress Mastery coaching program for your employees? And also, can you tell me a little bit about why you chose the Stress Mastery program? Let's start with tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into working with Kelly Wellness as well as health and wellness coaching for employees.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so my background is that I'm actually an engineer, and I was a project manager in Canada for 12 years. And in 2010, I went back to school and became a nutritionist and a hypnotherapist. So I sort of did a career switch, and then since then, I've been sort of doing my own private practice and also doing some corporate wellness workshops and such with companies in Toronto. And then after moving to Dubai, doing the same here. So I was
So,
running.
so do
Yeah.
you work both outside the company as well as inside the company?
At the moment, no, because now that I'm working here full time, the role keeps me really busy. So I'm not really, the odd, like I might get the odd request from a friend or something that, could you,
Sure,
help out a friend or whatever, and I might do that. But just don't have, it's just more of a time issue than anything else.
I
Um,
understand. Good, fantastic. Well, let me ask you this. You've just completed a program with your company. Can you tell me a little bit about what you did and how it all went about? And just give me a little storyline about what took place, how you used what we did, and how, the SMQ and all that.
yeah, so I mean, we had a request from one of the head of departments do a stress management assessment for his team. So I just sort of looked at what tools were out there online that would allow us to do a stress assessment for those employees for that team that would be confidential, that they could go online and just do it, and the results would be just for them to see. And and that's how we sort of I was already aware of the Stress Master program through Kelly Workplace Wellness, because I'm a wellness ambassador with her as well, a certified wellness ambassador. So so that's when we contacted you. So we just decided that we would do the way we kind of structured is that let's try out this tool as a bit of a pilot as well for the entire organization and see how it works out. Um, and Yeah, so we did the assessments for the entire team. Before we did the assessments, we met with the team, told them why we were going to do it, how this was going to be helpful, what the purpose of the program was, did the assessments online, and then did a group session where I walked them through, all the different components to help them understand what the results really mean. And then did one-on-one coaching with each team member to sort of help them on their individual results, and help them identify, one or two steps that they were going to take over the next few months
Okay.
to improve their results.
What what
Um,
led, what led the company to make the decision to do this? Was there some? Did you feel there's some stress within the organization, or did somebody say, "Hey, we think people here are stressed out. We need to take a look at that," or what was the motivation behind it all?
yeah, I mean, a couple of things. One thing is that we are being an event-based organization and a deadline-based organization. Stress levels are only going to rise. So I think the people that come here from, the Olympic background and other expos and stuff like that, they realize that managing stress is going to be a big part of us being able to deliver the project successfully. Um, and sort of, we've we have preempted the conversation with our team. So we've actually even run like a 3-month stress management program here on site, where we have a expert coming in, a mindfulness and a stress management and productivity expert. And she comes in once a week and gives a 45-minute class every week. So it was just so we're trying to do more preventative care by giving people the tools that they need, and then with this team to do the stress assessment. I think the team lead, the head of the department, again, sort of being forward thinking and realizing that he's got a new team, and suddenly it's grown from, like 0 to 9 or 10 in a short period of time, and they have a lot to deliver. He was aware of the fact that they were under some stress and wanted to, again, use the tools that we have and the resources, so use my expertise internally to again mitigate their stress levels.
That's pretty cool. So you're actually taking a preventative action. The stress, it's a stressful environment to begin with. And so you're saying that you're trying to help people be better prepared to deal with their stress as they go forward. So what were your goals with regard to the stress management questionnaire and the program that we had in place? What did you try to accomplish?
Yeah, so once I got to know the stress master myself, I did it myself and saw what the results were, and I was really impressed by the different measures and the different categories that it measures you on the stress, like the risk factors and such. The goal was really awareness, and that was the message that I shared with the head of department and the team when I met with them in groups and individually, was that, this is about self-awareness. And so this is not about stressing out about your stress scores.
Okay. All right.
It's about, let's find out what are the areas which are possibly causing you stress, and it's about awareness, and it's making changes and improvements.
Okay.
And what I really liked about the assessment, and I think this is the other thing that everyone else really appreciated as well, so for example, if your hostility and anger score is high, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're walking around yelling at people, but it's more about, maybe you're not expressing emotion, and you could be having sort of like a repressed passive aggressive anger. If your perfectionism score is high, there's a gap between maybe you're setting really high expectations for yourself, or those around you are doing the same. So it's a lot about self-management more than anything else. So the goal really was to educate the team on themselves, what are some of the things that they can do internally, how they can change their internal dialogue to better manage their stress.
So that's pretty cool. So how did they respond to all this?
Really well, actually, and it seemed like it was something that they were thirsty for. So some of the team members that are possibly they're new to Dubai, they're just moved here, and it's a new job. So it's a lot of things that are causing stress because when you move countries and you move to a brand new city, you don't know anyone. There's a stress in that. Some of them have young families or just had a baby or about to have a baby, so that's stress. So I think it's not all of it is work related. So it actually became it was less about work stress and just more generally about pressure at work and at home, and how all of those different factors affect us. So they all responded really well. Everybody was really excited that this was happening. They're really happy that this was happening. They were very forthcoming and honest when we did the one-on-one coaching. They really opened up. So it was really great, actually, because
do you think the process that you went through using the SMQ and your own coaching helped people to see some things about themselves that they hadn't thought about before?
Yes, definitely. I think that before going into the assessment, I don't know what their expectations really were. I did sort of tell them that you're going to be measured against a certain number of categories and some risk factors and all of that, but I didn't give too much detail. And I think that for some of them, the results were surprising to see which areas they were high in, and for some people it was not a surprise. So it's really it was a mixed bag in terms of, you know, what the results were for each person sort of individually.
Okay.
But yeah.
So, okay, now back to the process. What I'm
Mhm.
interested in is how did you do this? Was it, how many people were involved? How did you pull it all together to bring them together? How much time did you spend with them? And, just kind of the details of how you yourself work with them on a one-to-one or a group basis, however you did it.
Yeah, so I mean, uh, essentially because my key stakeholder and I guess the sponsor for the pilot was the head of the department. So I spent a couple of hours with him at the onset to understand what he needed, and then once I had evaluated the different tools and I decided that I would to use StressMaster, then I presented the tool to him and showed him like a sample assessment, got his feedback, got his approval to move forward. And then, yeah, once we, got through the finance approvals and everything and purchased the assessments, then I had a meeting with the team and I let them know that this has been requested by the head of the department, which is really great because he obviously cares about you guys and, wants to help.
Okay.
Sort of like, because it is a really positive thing when, your line manager is concerned or wants to help or, so not all of them would be thinking that way, most likely. So then in that meeting, just kind of spoke to them about what the process is going to be. So I told them that I'm going to be sending each one of you out a link. It takes about 10, 15 minutes to do the assessment. Do you want me to see the results or do you not want me to see the results? So I gave them that choice.
Oh, good.
And all of them said that we're okay with you seeing the results.
Cool.
And then I asked all of them, like, once you see the results, do you want to have one-on-one coaching? And they all said they would. So then I told them that after the results are in, then we're gonna have a group meeting where I will go over what the results mean and how to read them and how to interpret them. And then we'll have the one-on-one coaching. And then we're gonna end off with a focus group without the line manager there. So based on after you've done your one-on-one coaching and you've had time to reflect on it, we'll do a team focus group that'll be more specific to the team and asking about how can we work better as a team? How can we alleviate pressure off of one another? If we could change one thing about the way we do business, what would it be? So I came up with a list of like maybe 5 or 6 sort of powerful questions to get them through about an hour-long focus group at the end as well. And that there would be at the end, some form of a commitment on their part to make certain behavior changes if they wanted, and if they wanted me to keep them accountable for that.
So what did they say about that? Did they say that they wanted to do something? Were they okay with that? Or what do you think that's going to go with them? How they responded to the information you provided to them?
Yeah, they just seemed really open to it. So they said, yeah, absolutely. Like there's not really any resistance for some reason. So they really were like, yeah, for sure. Like, this is great. Thank you for doing this. Like, so that was just, they seemed very open to it, which was great.
Did you have some people who did not like the results? Did they felt maybe a little bit resistant to it, or wanted to say, this is not me?
Let me just think about that for a second. Yeah, I think maybe there was 1 or 2 people that were surprised by some specific indicators. They didn't realize, or they didn't, they just thought, hey, maybe at the time that I took the assessment, the answers were that way, but I don't really feel that way generally. To which I said, like, yeah, that's fair enough. Like, if that's the case, then you know yourself better than I do.
So the results of that was what? So now you've done all this great process. You went through the whole program. They got the information. What happens next?
Yeah, so after that, once they had the results, and then when we did the one-on-one coaching, we used, again, like some of the tools that are in the toolkit to, get that commitment for them to write down. So there was homework, after the one-on-one coaching, there was some homework as well for each person about, I want you to, like, if your score was really high in disappointment, then, I want you to fill out these pages in the workbook and think about what you could be doing differently and all of that. So we assigned them homework and we gave them like a week to do it. And then I just followed up with everyone to make sure that they did that. And then the last step really was I put together a report that really detailed, what the SMP really is, what the results mean. Here are the results from the assessment, and here are the results from the focus group. So sharing a bit of the quantitative results and the qualitative results, and then recommendations based on that to the line manager.
It seems like it went very well. What would you do differently? How would you change it in any way? How could you improve it? What would be things you would recommend to others as to what you would do going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is like setting expectations with the team about what this is about, and as well as with the departmental heads, because, I struggled with that a little bit, in the sense that I think no one likes to be told that they're not doing something well.
Right.
But some people get really defensive. So
Right.
I think, you just have to sort of, you have to address that head on, like at the beginning, about, this is not about criticizing people in the way that they behave, or it's not about any of that. It's about, being aware of how you're reacting to stress, or how you react to stress, and how you could, where you could do things a little bit differently. So it's not about me coming in and preaching to them or anything, but it's just more.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. So now, I know it's an early program and I don't expect a lot of changes, but do you think that people actually got some idea as to what they might do differently? And do you think they might make some changes in their life? Not that you're forcing them to do it, but you're just saying, hey, here's something you might think about doing differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with some of the team members had really low stress levels, right? So those people, there was less actionable things for them to do. There were suggestions that I made, but I don't really think that there was really like a strong, impetus for change for them, because, they were managing their stress pretty well. With some of the other members that did have some high scores, there were a lot of sort of aha moments for them when we were doing the one-on-one coaching about their perception of stress and how are they reacting to certain situations and everything. So I think definitely there was quite a few sort of those moments where moments of realization of what they could be doing differently.
It's kind of like the aha moment. So change is very difficult. People don't change their behaviors or attitudes very easily. And so this is the first step in that process. Is there another step after this, or will there be any follow-up to the program for these people?
I think I don't know if there's going to be like an official follow-up. I think I might be checking in with some of the team members individually that I know had changes that they wanted to make, but I think that's just going to be more informal. I don't think that there's going to be sort of like a formal follow-up with each person on the team, because I think, as I said, some people will not need it, but I think some people will just make, how's it going, and just to check in with them.
And as you well know, not everybody needs to have a lot of change in their life, that they deal with stress pretty well. What would be the future for you in terms of what you want to do with your company and your organization? How would you change it? What would you do differently? And where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, being in an organization, I think stress management is always going to be something that we are going to keep an eye on. And the closer we get to the date of the opening, and the closer we get to being operational, the more we're going to have to put these things in place. So definitely what I am looking into for next year is doing a stress assessment for the whole organization. We're at 175 people now. We're probably going to be at 350 tomorrow, next year. So, as the organization grows and new people are joining the team, there's more chaos and there's a
Hmm.
lot more
Gotcha.
change.
Well, you did a great
So
job on the report, and I want to go back to one little item. You did provide a report to the management, correct? About
yes.
what took place. How did that go over, and what generally did you do?
Yeah, with the report, as I mentioned earlier, like it was just kind of divided up into here's the quantitative data from the assessment, and here's the qualitative data from the focus group, and then here are the recommendations based on that. So again, I think that it's really important. So I just kind of you know have walked him through the deck,
Okay.
and just gone over the recommendations. And some recommendations, he gave me the feedback, oh, this doesn't really apply. We're already doing this. And then I said, well, fair enough. Like, it's just a general recommendation because I wouldn't know what's being already done in the team and what isn't because I'm not part of that team. So some of the things we revised, and I did a second version of it, and sent it back to him. That was based on his feedback of the recommendations. So yeah.
Okay. Now, so is the company and you, are you doing other stress mastery, deep relaxation, yoga, meditation? Are you providing any programs in addition to what you did on the assessment side to help people reduce their stress, just as a part of your own organization?
Yeah, right now we're running a 3-month stress management course on site, where we do have somebody that comes in once a week, and she's an expert in mindfulness and productivity and
Hmm.
resilience.
Cool.
So she leads the team through like mindfulness exercises, but also like gives them productivity tools. So that's been really great. So uh, we've had sort of like a core group of people that have attended every week, and sometimes we have new people joining some of
Is
the
that
weeks.
received very well? How do the people look at that?
Yeah, the people. I mean, it is a bit of a commitment to commit to like a 12-week program,
Hmm.
1 hour a week. People, again, like as I said, are really, really busy. So we usually have between 20 to 25 people that show up every week.
Cool.
Uh,
Right.
and so it's not bad. I mean, I would have liked a bigger group, but I think actually this size of group is probably better,
Sure.
because I think if it got to 30 or 40 people, it would be maybe harder to manage that.
Anything you want to change about our program?
No, I think the tools, all the tools that you gave me were really fantastic. Like the exercises and the workbooks, and so even for the participants to be able to do some homework and such.
So, anything else you want to say, or
No, it's been great. Like I really like the tool a lot. I think it's fantastic. So and the
well,
feedback's good
if
as
we
well.
can help other people do what you're doing and even make it even better, that's my goal. And you're terrific. Thank you so much for your time. And hopefully, we'll be talking soon.
Absolutely, I'm sure we will.
You have a great day. Again, thank you, Kimi Sohki. I appreciate your time and your dedication to helping to improve employee wellness and stress mastery.